Hello, welcome to the start of the rotation build guide video. There's probably going to be two, almost undoubtedly. So, we want to start off with powers. I always use Lance of Faith and Conflagrate. Lance of Faith, 0.6 second cast time, that's kind of important. It does okay damage, so if you're not using encounters, use Lance of Faith. Burning Judgment, hang on. Okay, let's just start off with feats. You want Piercing Javelin and Chipping Scales. Not the other two. That is for the other guide. That's for the other build. That's only really good when you add the Tarokka deck. That's what it was made for. But it's not really best anymore. If you don't know Adri something, they're a really good cleric. They've got like, I think it's 200k power I think they've got, but they're in really good gear. They've got like 50k power more than me. And in Tower of the Mad Mage, they only did 50 mil more after an hour of running. So it was 200 and 250 mil damage. It was, their stats are all capped and they have better gear. They also have all boons, so yeah, shows how good this build is. Anyway, Piercing Javelin lets your Outlaws get a chance to guarantee the crit on Searing Javelin, which is really good in trash fights. Divine Glow now generates a full stack of Burning Judgment or Divine Judgment, as long as you have at least one charge of either. So if you just use your Lance of Faith once, then you use Divine Glow. I'm just going to set up for trash fights. So if you just hit once and then use Divine Glow, that's a full stack of Judgment. For Searing Javelin, one stack of Judgment is 60 magnitude, so 6 squared is 36. That's double the damage of your hit, just by using an At-Will and Divine Glow. If you use a few At-Wills and get Searing Javelin, then, Piercing Javelin, then fully empower your Searing Javelin. That's 4 times the damage of just throwing a Javelin. That's a lot of damage. So Divine Glow is always good. If you're out of combat and you need Divinity Regen, and you've just hit a mob so you've got like any scale, use that, the tab, and then it'll give you a bit of extra Divinity. Break the Spirit. It increases the damage the target takes by 10%. With Doomslayer, this little power here, that makes it 20%. So if you walk up to the start of combat, use Conflagrate once, this will give you 3 stacks of Judgment, which makes your power go from 400 magnitude to 700 magnitude, which is quite a lot for waiting 1.8 seconds. Plus, after the start of the cast on Conflagrate, you can start walking. So you can actually still be running partway through the cast, then use Break the Spirit. And now the phone is ringing, so I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I've returned. I use Time Lord's Lucky Coin. It gives you 410, so that's 410 power up just gained. That's 0.4% damage. It's like 1 in 8 or something. It's not that great, but it's free stats. I also use the Champion's Battle Horn. It just gives you a little bit of movement speed and some HP. Your movement speed wears off if you take damage, so it's not really great to run all in one go. So yeah, like if you're low HP, you can just pop the horn and you've got health. Or if you're running up to mobs and you want to be the first in the group to hit them, you can use your little horn and get in front of some people. What else? Here we go, Nickel Plated Ring. This one's not bad if your stats aren't balanced enough. It'll give you encounter damage, which is nearly as good as range damage, considering encounters are 80-90% of our damage. So that's a good option, but I think they're like 300k on the auction house right now. 226k, that's, if you get the Ebony Raid Ring and you lose some stats, it's fine. It's kind of best anyway. Like, you'll see every endgame player will run either the ranged or melee, and the ranged. I'm not sure about Hunter Rangers because they have ranged and melee attacks. Then we've got What else? Wounds, that's good if you're a healer, but that's not this video. Oh yeah, I didn't mention defense slots. In your defense slots, which this one will have, but when it's at purple it will, you want to run anything but empowered, because the health on empowered is not working yet, so a lot of tanks are really furious. For me, I'd probably use defense or critical avoidance in my defense slots. If I'm going to tank something like Strawberry End, I'll use the chained icon. It'll give me defense and crit avoidance, and I use arcanes when I'm running a tankier setup, because usually crit avoidance defense, that's capped, so the extra deflect will be helpful. What else have I got here? Mist. Not really. Okay, cool. As a little rotation example, I'm just gonna run. What can I run that's pretty quick? It's gonna be 2 videos no matter what, so. Is this skirmish? Here we go, Shores of Turn. Okay. So for this dungeon, it's basically just all trash fights with one boss. So I'm going to be wanting something good for trash fights. I have no healer with me, so I'm just soloing this. So I'm just going to run Rusted, because the incoming healing doesn't really matter. Otherwise I would have ran something like the Primals. But 5% damage is the best in this scenario. I'm going to be using a lot of encounters, so even though Primals would be nice, I think Trapper's going to be just fine. Fatigue's Coif is kind of useless here. I think I'll run Infernal. It's going to be better than Fancy. Actually no, it's not, sorry, I've got this one Power Reinforced, but the other one isn't. This set's not too bad. Shirt's all good. This is basically what I run. My stats are probably extra capped, so I think I can swap this for the defensive piece. So, for this one I'm just going to run through to the last group. When I rush into combat, I'm going to use Conflagurate first, as I'm still running. Then I'm going to use Break the Spirit on a big mob like the Rage Drake or the Blue Dragon Fang. Then I use Divine Glow, full stacks of Judgment, Searing Javelin, use a few Outwills, Staff of Flowers to gain my cooldown reduction, and then just kind of keep circling it around the mobs, dodging. I use Tab there to get rid of my scales, just for extra divinity, since I use my Searing Javelin more than Break the Spirit. And another group. This one's 2 big mobs. Big mobs are not really fun with clerics. We don't really do enough damage to make it worthwhile with a setup like this. So we just run through, aggro all these beeps, Searing Javelin, dodge kind of through the group. Now we can gain some combat advantage to the mobs that are casting spells. It's basically the same thing. You just want to empower your Searing Javelins most of the way, depending on where you're at. And then just dodge where you're going to get hit. Pretty difficult. Let's not die in our guide. Okay, there we go. We're dead. Maybe not. Yeah. Oh well, that's close. Not too bad for a solo. I do have an injury kit left. I'm always out of injury kits. And gold, apparently. So yeah, basically, rushing into fight, usually it's Conflagurate and then Break the Spirit. But sometimes it's not, and that's when you want to use Searing Javelin first, and then you might get Sudden Judgment. But usually if there's a big mob, you just want to get the mobs dead quicker, especially if they're weak, so hence rushing in first with the high hitting power. Where I have cooldowns, I'll just start off with some Outwills, wait for them to start casting,